Hello learners, I welcome you all to the fifth lecture for our course on International Investment Law and the Environment, and we are currently in the second week of the course. In the last lecture, fourth lecture, we looked at how it is easy for an investors to move capital from one country to another country and what are the risks that they may face and how the host state may try and regulate the foreign investment in its territory. So now from this video onwards, we will look at how the protection to foreign investments started developing. We could see from 17th century onwards, there were many strategies that were adopted by the home state in order to ensure that its nationals' investment in other countries are secure. We could see that 17th century onwards is going to be our starting point for the discussion. We are tracing it only from here because this is where the treaty level, the protection framework were brought in through the treaties itself, right? And in this lecture, we will particularly be looking at how the protection to foreign investors were given in the European context. I mean, initially there were reciprocal treaties that were signed among European countries in order to give protection to foreign investors, and that is considered to be the origin or the starting point of protecting foreign investment through treaties, which in a much more sophisticated form is what we see in the context of bilateral investment treaties. So in the fifth lecture, we will be looking at the protection given to foreign investment within Europe. So in the sixth lecture, we will be looking at beyond Europe, right? So to begin with the discussion on what sort of protections that were given to foreign investment, initially the foreign investors only relied on the domestic laws of the host state for any adverse actions that their investment endures, right? So that is what initially the only sort of protection that foreign investors expected or taken advantage of was the domestic laws in the host state itself. Then we do see with an increase in the significance of foreign commerce. So the European countries started taking an interest in how their nationals' investments are protected in other countries as well. So then what we see here is treaties were signed among European countries for protecting foreign investments. Initially, those treaties also focused only on protecting merchants and traders, but eventually it started having provisions with regard to protecting industrial and financial capitals as well. For instance, look at the treaties of Westphalia in 1648 and Paris in 1763. They contained provisions with protecting the economic rights of the investors apart from protecting the life and liberty of the individuals, right? So economic rights of the investors were also protected through these treaties. So we could see that in the 17th century, there were many treaties that were signed among European countries, and this was in reciprocal basis. So there were UK investors, Britain investors in Spain and Spanish investors in UK. So that some sort of the reciprocal arrangement played a significant role for the conclusion of treaties among the European countries itself. Look at Spain-Britain treaty that was concluded in the year 1667. This treaty prohibited mistreatment and seizure of ships as well as merchandise and in each other's territory. And how do we know that this sort of provisions will be respected? Because the countries started depending only on the reciprocity of the treaties. There was no international sovereign to enforce the provisions of this treaty, but they still expected that the other country will respect the provisions of this treaty. Why? Because if Britain takes any adverse action against Spanish investors, then Britain citizens are vulnerable to the actions of Spain government as well, right? So the fact that their own nationals are vulnerable in other countries, so the reciprocal basis, and the if you look at the economic status of the country, or military strength and all of that, so the reciprocal nature of these treaties itself acted as a powerful instrument, and withdrawal of reciprocity acted as a powerful sanction. So therefore, countries exercised restraint from taking adverse action against a foreign investor, especially the European investor from other countries. So that sort of seemed to work in certain way. And this was successful. We do see that Britain, France, Holland, Spain, they've been concluding many such reciprocal treaties in order to protect their nationals' investment in other countries. In comparison to German Empire, Sweden and Russia. So Britain, Holland, Spain, France were taking a more active role in getting treaties signed with other countries and to offer protection to their nationals who had invested in other territory. And during peacetime, we could see that the provisions of these treaties itself provided sufficient protection, or provided a framework for protecting their citizens' investment in other countries. And even during wartime, what we have seen is such treaties had clauses which required for restitution or payment of damages as well. And okay, so if there's a wartime, and how do we ensure that the treaty's provisions will be respected, especially in a wartime, right? So we do see in the 18th and 19th century, there were many mixed claims commissions that were constituted. So the provisions of these treaties with regard to restitution and damages could be enforced through those mixed claim tribunals itself. So that was the protection for foreign investment during a wartime is something that could be secured through establishing a mixed claims tribunal. And even during peacetime, they could probably use the treaty provision and take the domestic courts or domestic tribunals for getting their rights enforced. So that is what we've seen after the conclusion of these treaties, reciprocal treaties among the European countries. The investor did take advantage of it. They had engaged in economic activities in a foreign territory. They had undertaken economic operations. They had given out loans. They've used the domestic forums to get the repayment of the loan and all of that. So during peacetime also, these treaties afforded protection, and during wartime also, with the practice of establishing mixed claims tribunal. So we could see that these treaties ensured whatever the treaties contained, the provisions with regard to restitution and damages, that could be enforced through these mixed claims tribunals as well. So this is how the protection to foreign investment in the European context had developed. Eventually, this is what we see develops into a more sophisticated form in the form of a bilateral investment treaty. So in the next lecture, we will be looking out beyond Europe. How did the European countries ensure that its nationals' investment were protected? But because in the treaties that it concluded with other European countries, there were reciprocity, and the reciprocity played a key role. So we have to examine how did European countries protected its nationals' investment beyond Europe. So that we will discuss in the next lecture, in the next video. Thank you.